Hello and welcome to this week's Friday podcast. This is the podcast where we broadcast and talk about everything we've done in the days leading up to today. I'm always joined by, well, I couldn't do it on my own. I'm always joined by a colleague, and today I'm back here at the MTD studios after being out on last Friday's show at Hella in Redditch, which was great. If you didn't actually listen to that, it's worth going on our YouTube channel to either watch it or to look through our playlists on Spotify or iTunes or whatever it is we broadcast these podcasts on, to actually find that show, because I had David Evans on last week and we talked about Hella and the machines being built, and it was a really good backdrop. Today I'm back here and I've got someone of equal importance. Gio, how are you today? You all right?
I'm very good, thanks, Paul. Brilliant show, by the way, last week.
Did you? It was really good. I mean, have you been to Hella?
No, I haven't. I've in the past, I've visited it briefly in my previous role, but not actually had that experience of going in and seeing how the machines are built. Yeah,
it just reminds me of when we used to go to Europe all the time and see machines being built. You just don't think that it happens here in the UK, but it does at a couple of places, and Hella being one of them. So, and some of those videos have hit the channel this week, which we'll talk about in the show. One has done extremely well. But coming up, we're going to cover what we've been up to this week, and we're going to tell you about where we're going to be next week, because we've got some exciting stuff going on. We'll digest some of the facts and figures of what we've seen this week on the website, and also, of course, what we've learned during our travels. We'll talk about Wilco Manufacturing, a big star sliding head lathe user. We'll talk about CTPE, based over, I think it's not in Haverhill, it's over in Suffolk. I have been there myself. I'm just trying to remember, near Cambridge anyway. Subcontract engineer. JKN Tools up north. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about Grob, who visited the studio this week. We'll talk about DMG MORI, which was the last place I saw you, Gio. We'll talk about ETG. We'll talk about MSC, and we're going to talk about Hoffmann, and that's where we're going to start this week, because Gio, we've got something rather special happening, haven't we, next Tuesday? Could you maybe explain what that's going to be for the listeners, so if they're available, they can tune in?
Absolutely, Paul. So we also visited Recol Limited,
course, yeah. And
BDL Tool and Die in well, it's up north. Well, no,
it's
Daventry and Northampton this week for part of the show that we're going to be producing with the Hoffmann Group next week, live from Subcon. So this show, we're kind of looking at a new industry first solution that Hoffmann are offering to the UK market. My H's, I don't pronounce them very well, so apologies. But this is an industry first, a guaranteed savings plan. So Recol are one of the first companies in the UK to embrace this savings plan, and already they're seeing massive savings.
Don't give too much away, because we need people to watch it. But give us a very quick, whet the appetite.
So basically, they are putting their money where their mouth is, Paul. They believe in their product range and product portfolio that much that they believe that their products and their experts
expertise
in their field will save clients money. So tune in next week to find out how
we'll be broadcasting this live, won't we, at Subcon, which is happening next week at the NEC. We'll be with John Wuskett and Tim
team.
Paddison, and various other people from Hoffmann on their stand. And what time is it we'll be broadcasting?
1 p.m.
1 p.m. So you can watch it either on YouTube, if you're watching this now on YouTube, or you can tune into LinkedIn or Facebook, where we'll be streaming that show live. I know Joe Reynolds will be joining us, because we'll be looking at some of the products as well, won't we, which help them achieve what you're talking about.
Absolutely, that really, Paul. It's through the products and the product expertise that these savings are achieved, and it's a minimum of 10% savings, and if they don't achieve that, they'll underwrite that. So it's a no-brainer. It sounds too good to be true.
It's almost like a cash back.
Exactly that.
Cashback. Tune in for Cashback Tuesday. Okay, so also talking this week about a couple of new companies that you'll be seeing in a prominent position on the MTD website. We've got two new customers we wanted to mention today. Chester Machine Tools, which have joined our platform, which is good news. You can tell us a little bit about those in a minute. And of course, First MTA, we're going to be doing some work with. And everybody knows what First MTA do, don't they?
Yep, First MTA, wow, they are a provider of of work holding solutions, but not only work holding solutions, automation solutions also. So yeah, they actually start on the platform on the 1st of October. Chester Machine Tools are officially started on the 1st of September. So 2 new clients. SolidCam have also joined as well, with a nice contract, which I'll be visiting them next week to look and plan ahead. So we've got some.
Now tell us about Chester Machine Tools. I saw your post on LinkedIn, and it's the first time I've seen one of their VMCs, which they're carrying from stock, aren't they? Which is part of, I suppose, the promotional work that they're going to be doing with us. Where are they pitching their products? Because I mean, I know Chester Machine Tools from manual machines, conventional sort of turret machines. They've been very successful in that area, but now they're or have they been in the CNC zone for a while?
The manual machines are still a big part of the business, so it's still a massive part of the business. And when you look at the UK market, there's not that many people that are selling manual machine tools, but you go into 90% of any engineering workshop, you need one. If you've got a tool room, you don't want to break down your CNC, and you just got an odd job or a rework, they're a necessity, and it's a great place for your apprentices to start learning on. The CNCs, I met with Graham and the directors this week. Basically, they've brought in a new branded range of VMCs, and I've got to admit, Paul, I'm not going to give everything away. I've got to admit that they look extremely good value for money. It comes complete with the swarf management systems, latest controls. The build of the machine, from what I can see, looks excellent. The rapids, the rapids and the feed rates, the spindle.
What about the sizes? Are they
a large range of sizes, Paul, from like a little mini mill all the way up to a large,
And what's their expectation of the market then? Is this something they want to become another? Because I mean, it's quite a condensed. It's quite a saturated market, isn't it?
I think you'll be unbelievably surprised on the value that you get for the price that you'll be paying. I think that you get a lot of machine for a very competitive price with everything on it. Everything's going to be on there. And I was quite surprised with the infrastructure of this company too. So they've got 2 sites. They've got one in the kind of Cannock area where I visited, and then one obviously in Chester too. So 2 big sites, and they've got an open house as well next week on Wednesday, I believe, on the 15th.
Okay, so that on the point of events, actually, it's quite pertinent that you mentioned that, because I did just want to mention that we've got a few events that are happening, and that are sort of real events that are starting to happen again in due course. We've got Citizen in October. You'll be able to find details of that on our website. We've got Herco's Open House in October as well. Emo's just around the corner. I believe there's a few other companies that are already planning open houses, including Bisotronic or Bistronic, which is next month too. So there's plenty of activity in the market. And of course, the big one for us is going to be the FANUC one, which is happening in November, the first week in November. In fact, I'm at FANUC next week talking to Ollie and Tom Boucher, plus other members of their team, about what people can expect to see at the FANUC Open House automation event from November the 1st to the 5th, where we'll be streaming that one live as well, just like myself and Gio will be at Subcon next week with the Hoffmann event. CTPE. Now, this is a company, Colin's been there this week, and have you ever been there, Alex, to see Alex and Chris from CTPE? They're over in Suffolk. It's in Mildenhall. That's where it is.
Paul.
Business, they did really well, and I hate to say it, but when the pandemic was on within the medical sector, they were just running lights out all the time. They've got an Akari or an Averex machine from White House Machine Tools, a horizontal machining centre. Colin was looking at that. But it's a horizontal with a pallet system. But the good thing about the Averex is, and we've looked at this in the past, where you can retrofit a pallet system to the machine. So let's say, for example, you wanted to buy the horizontal for all the reasons we talk about, Gio, the productivity gains and all the rest of it. But you didn't quite want to go for a pallet system to take you to the next level. A lot of machine tool manufacturers, you either go for one or the other, don't you? You go for loads of pallets, or you go for a twin pallet, and that's it. But with the machine from White House Machine Tools, from the Averex, you can bolt on, I think it's either a 10 or a 12 station pallet pull onto the machine at a later date, when you've proved that that particular product is what you need for your manufacturing. So this is what CTPE invested in. But they've also purchased something Colin does a lot with, PSL Data Track, to help them with their accreditations. some really good videos to come out of CTPE. It's a good company to look at and see how the way they make parts, the machine tools that they buy. They also pride themselves on being extremely competitive in making components as a result of the speed of their brother machining centres. They've also got a big Belia turning centre, multi-axis machine for their parts, along with a Tornos. It's good to see inside their factory, which you'll be able to do when those videos come out. We were also Colin's been at JKN Tools today, which is a company that's also taking delivery of another Doosan machine, so it'll be good to see the videos coming to our site on that. Mark was here in the studio on, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, with Grob. Now, I know you've done some podcasts with Grob Geo. You've also looked at their machines equally like I have. But they're launching a new 4-axis universal machining centre. I believe we spoke about this as well, didn't we, when we were doing a podcast with them some time ago. They've also announced that they'll be investing in a bespoke new building in the UK for 2022, which will house a demo area, which is one thing I think that the guys will agree is something that they've been missing really with Grob. Such technology, but sometimes you need to show it, don't you? You know, and it's not always easy to get to an end user, and it's not often easy, certainly at the moment, to get to Germany, which, I know Mark's been there and we're planning to go back to their site. But some machine, when you see it, and you want to be able to show it off, wouldn't you? So this will be good for them.
They're making massive inroads, aren't they, into the UK market? They've always been in the UK market, but predominantly at large OEM companies, large automotive companies. But now they're kind of making themselves accessible to the smaller end users and
well,
all.
Like Luff Engineering was a perfect opportunity. Do you remember going to Luff Engineering?
Perfect example.
With respect to Luff Engineering, you're standing outside and you're thinking, well, is there really going to be a Grob machine in here? And you walk in and it's a very industrial business, and he's making and machining lots of castings and casings and parts, but on older technology. And to the left-hand side, there's this beautiful Grob 5-axis machining centre, which
twin pallet
machine.
That one at Luff. I mean, the capabilities of the machines are second to none, really. There's not really anything that you can't make on them. Nothing really, because you've obviously got turning capability as well. The only limitations, as we always say in a lot of these scenarios, is the actual size of billet. Fantastic product, and I wish them all the best. And the new facility, really looking forward to see that.
And the 4-axis machine, they it's really successful with their 5-axis. We look at the table inverting and the tunnel configuration that they do. Some real sort of standout points about their machines, which do separate them, they'll say, from a lot of their competition. But to go for a 4-axis, of course, you don't all need 5-axis, do we? We see a lot of machine tool manufacturers doing it.
Absolutely as well, Paul. I think that it'll be a slightly different configuration of the machine. So your kind of the columns that you can put on there, or the work holding that you can put on there, can vary in size in respect to a 5th axis. Because with a 5th axis, obviously, you need to be able to hit all 5 sides, or it's pointless having the 5th axis. But when you're doing horizontal machining, you're only looking to hit 3 sides of a component. So when you've got a column on there, you're hitting 3 sides. Yes, you can still do 6-sided work, prismatic work, but in 2 ops. Yeah. So it's a different configuration, and I think, and again, we've mentioned this so many times on MTDCNC. The American market is pretty much full of horizontal machines, and 5th axis is a lot less, because a lot of the work that is actually done in the UK is 4th axis work.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, actually, and this is a bit of a plug for Tony Gunn here. Tony, who operates for MTDCNC out of the States, a lot of the videos that we see on our YouTube channel from him are on horizontal machining centres, whether it be them talking about the cutting tool, the work holding, the fixturing, even factory whiz software, which he's been doing a lot recently. They've either been on a Doosan horizontal or a Kiwa horizontal, machines that we don't see a lot here. So you're right, there is a big difference in the amount of machines,
the philosophies, or the way. I think historically in the past in UK, Paul. Sorry, but historically in the past in UK, we've been very renowned for low volume work, and when you've got that low volume work, we've been kind of guilty of thinking, well, the cycle times are not as important. So they're doing this really precise low volume work in 6 operations on a 3-axis machine, tool. But really, could they have been looking to win loads more work? Still can be 1-offs, 2-offs, 3-offs, but be putting them on their horizontal, and then effectively you do it, instead of doing it in 6 operations, these prismatic parts, you're doing it in 2. The savings absolutely astronomical. Your margins in the parts go through the roof. And I think that we need to start looking at work differently. And then you've got the other element of when people have bought fifth axis machines. Yes, it's future proof in your business. If you in the future you're going to or wanting to take on full fifth axis simultaneous work, you've got the machine tool there to do the work. But
this hasn't changed in decades. When I was selling machines, guess how many horizontal machining centres I sold in, say, 6 or 7 years of selling machines?
5?
1. And guess who that was to? You know them. You've been there a couple of weeks ago. Dave Handley at Tame. It was the only horizontal machining
centre. He's
centre.
got quite a lot of horizontal machines to make the jaws.
Yeah, that was the only horizontal I sold. There was nothing against the machines I was selling, whether it had been the DMG MORIs or the Doosan's. It was purely just the market wasn't buying it.
But you know what, Paul? Through my experience going around and seeing the people that have invested in horizontal machines in the UK, they're all doing really well.
Yeah.
They all do really, really well. Yeah. It's a machine that's not kind of...
Dave Handley being one of them.
100%. He's got a row of... no, I haven't actually.
the river that runs along the bottom of his garden. Okay, let's move on. Before I do, I didn't know this. This is a fact I picked up about Grob. 7,000 employees, 1.1 billion in output in 2020 to 2021, and a company that was founded in 1926. They're the biggest machine tool manufacturing plant, I believe, in Europe. I think it is. It might even be in the world. I'm not sure, but it's a huge business. So those technical corners come into our channel. Okay, coming up, we'll be talking about DMG MORI's technology, where Gio, myself, and Mark were this week. ETG's Wilco machines with Heidenhain controls, MSC, and Wilco Manufacturing. But first, our week in review. We always take a couple of minutes just to tell you about some of the highlights that have been on the website this week. The top 5 videos in terms of performance. At number 5, Gio, was your video on the Altera SL from LK Metrology, which is a video that's performed really well. In 5 seconds, tell people what they can expect to see on that video.
So I think the Altera SL, was it, or the Scantech?
It was the SL, the Altera SL.
Was it the SL Scantech?
Scantech, yeah.
Was it the Scantech?
Yeah.
If it was Scantech one, it was a collaboration with LK Metrology and Renishaw. So what they did there, they've been working together now for over 40 years, believe it or not. Producing new innovative products, and the Renishaw are offering a fifth axis head that goes on to the actual CMM, but it gives you a lot of capability, flexibility, speed when measuring these kind of
25
complex
seconds.
components.
Not bad, but it's good description. I'm going to ask you to do the same again, because number 4 was this GOM, and this was this sounds like what Colin's aftershave is. Aramis. Aramis is at the Aramis system. It's got the where you've got the speckled patterns. You must have seen this where you've got
this is the testing video.
Bit, yeah.
This is so
number 4. It's good.
Yeah. So so sorry, Paul. It's a Friday and it's been a long week. But
still laughing at the Aramis joke.
The Aramis system is a lot of people associate GOM with their measuring equipment, their Atos scan boxes for scanning, but they've also got equipment for testing the durability or a component under load, and that is that particular system. And they've simplified the way in which you can do this kind of durability testing, or testing a component or billet under load. I mean, this is the kind of stuff as well that Les would be interested in at Intico, to test material strengths.
Well, they had the example that was on the video, and it's a good watch. So say it's at number 4 this week in our week in review. They had a knee, didn't they, where they manoeuvred the knee. Yeah. So you could tell the stresses and strains on the knee. Maybe Carver, Ian, could do with one of those at the moment. If you've seen our cameraman lately, he's hobbling around. He might have to have a knee replacement. Poor chap. At number 3 this week, we had the MTDCNC review on the DMG MORI DMU 95 monoblock from Mark and myself, which was done at Blue Diamond Engineering, where we looked at that machine in detail. And if you want to know more about a 5-axis machine that is really doing well in subcontract businesses where you need a slightly bit bigger capacity, you need to be able to put a lot of weight on the table, then the DMU 95 monoblock is a machine to look at. In position number 2 in our week in review, AM Hydraulics from Leader CNC. Gio, you looked at that Shabora machine, didn't you? They had a huge... It's almost like a magnet. It looked like a magnetic ring on there when I saw.
No, it was a massive component that had an internal thread in there. So that machine there, that vertical lathe, has got milling capability as well, and you've got a tool changer on there. So it
was like a BB. Is it a BT50 as well? I think
it is a BT50 face and taper.
So you imagine having to take that part off that machine, move it somewhere else to mill it, or all of what you've got to do.
Exactly
Perfect
that.
solution.
And off the back of them buying that machine, and you've been into AM Hydraulics, they've got some fabulous machine tools, lots of capability, but just off the back of buying that machine tool, they've won a massive new major contract off the back of it because of that machine's capabilities.
Okay, well done, Cooks. Did you had a curry while you were there as well?
He did, and he gave me a bottle of Prosecco for Nicola, because it was her birthday on the day that I went.
Did you give it to her?
I did actually, but I drank it later. But he's also built a bar on his site that he took us into his bar, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. What a company, AM Hydraulics, and I know if you watch that video, it was number 2 of or second in terms of popularity on our website this week. Gio does talk to 3 generations of the family, I believe, there, based nestled in the heart of Birmingham. And at number 1, our top performing video this week with over 5,000 watches is the Hella 5-axis for the price of 4, which was a video I did with David Evans last week in Redditch, where they talk about exactly that, the fact you can buy a 5-axis Hella machine built here in the UK for the price of 4. I'm sure that will attract a lot of attention. I'm sure engineers will be interested to see what the Hella machine can offer them. Other things on the MTDCNC website this week, we had the podcast, Gio, which was launched this week. What was the podcast that came out on Monday?
I'm just trying to refer. It was the one that we did.
We're going to put it over the screen anyway if it comes up. But a podcast every Monday. If you remember, you can tell us. But there's a podcast that comes out every Monday. There's also videos on the website from Jason and me at FT Gearing talking about that's Jason Butler from Mazak talking about the i100 Integrex machine. There's technical corners from Leader CNC with myself and you doing the Fat Heiko. A video from Roscomac with their Matsuras, always a good company to keep tabs on what they're up to. In fact, Roscomac have just ordered another Matsura horizontal pallet machine. And there's also videos from you with Haas, and there's some cutting tool innovations from Goering and ITC. So that's it for this week's Week
Curie Botelli podcast.
Curie Botelli
and Haas.
And Haas. That's it for this week's Week in Review. Okay, so carrying on. DMG MORI, this was where we visited on Wednesday. We looked at several models of machines. We haven't got time to talk about all of them. We're going to pick a couple of the highlights because the machines we looked at are in stock, which is what a lot of machine tool manufacturers are struggling to have at the moment because of the supplies from the market, but also the demand from the marketplace here as well, looking to buy machines readily at the moment. DMG MORI had the M1 we looked at, which is a vertical machining centre. Myself and Mark reviewed that. For under £60,000, a DMG MORI VMC, something like 24 station ATC, 10,000 RPM spindle, 550 by 550 X and Y, a real sort of entry level, I think they even describe it, vertical machining centre with a Siemens control available from stock. Now, Gio, the one I wanted to talk to you about is the CTX with the TC that we looked at, the 450, where you've got the milling head, which is it's compact, isn't it? It's so compact. CLX. Twin spindle machine with a milling head, the B axis in a very small footprint. But how capable is that machine?
Yeah, I mean, we were quite surprised with some of its capabilities and some of its technical kind of programs that you can also use to simplify the programming. They're stating that now that you can program that machine 60% faster than you would have done before using some of these special features. But the head, like you mentioned, Paul, it is a surprisingly small head with so much torque and so much power. The two spindles have got equal power too. So if you were looking to plan your work, you could either do it in spindle 1 and spindle 2 or vice versa. It wouldn't matter because you've got that equal power where you wouldn't have to kind of decide which one it went on first. But the capabilities of the machine, the footprint of the machine, the ergonomics of the machine, the CLOS control, and like we say, all the simplified ways in which you can now program some really complicated engineering, eccentric turning, power skiving for gears, broaching.
And these are all in their tech cycles, aren't they? They reckon there's around about 50 tech cycles in their control system.
Which is just completely conversational.
Yeah, which takes me when you go back to when you were using machines, and everything was longhand, wasn't it, on the machine? It was G this, and you were just coding all the way through. But you look at some of the cycles that they have in these controls now, and the simple inputs you have to make. Just take all of the, I don't want to say take the skill out of it, because there's still a skill, but what they're trying to do is make the machine available to those that don't necessarily have the qualifications or the capabilities to be engineers. And and they've really achieved that with these machines, certainly with these hugely complex looking products. They're just simplifying how you make parts on them.
I don't want to be derogative, but they're making they're making it foolproof. They are making it foolproof, and I think that they're making it accessible to all skill levels, and reducing the time it would take to program real complex components. And I think that, like you say, that them tech cycles, Paul, we got shown, didn't we, how easy it was to program, and it's asking you the questions, so you can't go wrong. You've just got to set the datums up on your machine tool, set your tool length offsets. It'll ask you a few questions which you will put in or input from your drawing or component that you're looking to make, and that's it. It's as simple as that.
What I liked as well was with the milling head, people would argue, they would say, well, my tool change is going to be slower on this, so my cycle time is going to be less because the tool's got to go away, it's got to move across on, back into the tool change and pick up another one, bring it back, whereas a turret index is in a second or less. But the reality is they put two tools in the spindle, didn't they? They put a finishing and a roughing and a finishing tool in the spindle, so it indexed through 180 degrees, and you could either rough or finish. It's simple little things like that they thought about in order to make improvements to productivity as well. So there's going to be some terrific videos coming from DMG MORI in the coming days and weeks on stock machines that they have there. There was about 6 or 7 that we did. We looked at the NHX, which is a horizontal machine. We also looked at the, I believe it's the NTX machine. We looked at the NMV. And as I say, all of these videos are going to be coming to the channel very, very soon. We're getting close to towards the end of the show. We've got about 4 minutes left, Gio, so I just want to talk about some of the other things we've been up to this week. Did you know that the Engineering Technology Group sell their Wilco machines with Heidenhain controls?
I do, yes, because I watched the video, at no extra cost.
Okay, so if you're the big driver in this is they've seen that how many Bridgeport VMCs are in the marketplace, or over the past 3-4 decades, these VMCs, they're now come as good of a machine as they were. They may be coming towards the end of their life, and in fact, people have been trying to tap into this for some years. But ETG, having been the provider of the Bridgeport machines, with a database of the Bridgeport machines, with the ability to service and support the Bridgeport machines that had Heidenhain controls, and now bringing their Vulcan machines in with Heidenhain controls in order to take a Bridgeport out and put a Vulcan in. That's very much where they see a big market for them in the coming years. I mean, the machines are really competitively priced as well. The Heidenhain control is the latest system, and Joe and Steve Brown took a look at one of the machines that they've got in stock. So I can't encourage you enough, if you're thinking in your machine shop, you've got a Bridgeport VMC, you want to take that out to replace it with something maybe faster, something that's obviously going to be a lot more reliable because it's brand new. With the latest Heidenhain control, they will part exchange your Bridgeport machines as well. So good opportunity there. Wilco Manufacturing, 2 more things we're going to talk about. Wilco Manufacturing, Gio, I don't know whether you've ever been there, but it's a company in Birmingham, and they have 24 star sliding head lathes. Started in 2003 investing in their machines. Martin Lane talked us through his journey in the company from when they had tough times in the 90s, when a lot of their business was automotive, and they took the plunge to buy a Star machine, and it was what changed the business completely. If they hadn't bought Star, they would still not be in business today, was what Martin said. That video will be coming to the website in due course. And then I want to finish on, before we talk about what we're going to be doing next week, MSC. Colin and myself were there yesterday. They've got a new facility up in Wednesbury that they are about to open in about October or November. Some really exciting news coming out of there. MSC is a company that I didn't know a lot about until we started working with them about a year ago. And I'm sure you would have seen some of the things that we've done with MSC recently. They're looking at basically being a provider to engineering companies, and are a provider to engineering companies, where they can put their arms around them and cover every aspect of their business. The expertise they have within their sales guys, I have to make a mention here to Matt, Alex and Doug that we were with yesterday, but the expertise and knowledge they have about not just the products, but how to run a machine shop, how to get the best out of a machine shop, how to improve productivity and reduce costs. And all of these things are what MSC specialise in. They don't just want to, open a brochure and supply you with a cutting tool for this and a tool holder for that. They want to do much more than this. And that's why they've opened this new tech centre in Wednesbury, which will be working with them to promote in the coming months. I don't want to say too much more about it at the moment, but they've got some pretty good kit going in there. They're going to be doing events directly from there. But they do things like going to engineering companies and saying, do you want to win some more business? Do you want to win that contract? Can you win that contract at the moment with the inventory you've got, with the cutting tools you've got, with the strategy you've got? And if you're not sure, let us take a look, because we can help you win that contract. It takes away a lot of that sort of emphasis of having to have potentially, as crazy as it sounds, a sales guy, a production engineer, a production manager. There's big costs involved in that. And if you can go to an organisation which can sort of harness all that in one and provide you that from a contractual level, it doesn't seem like you've got a lot to lose. So some really, really exciting stuff coming out of MSC. And as I say, we'll be working with them a lot closer in the coming months and hopefully years. So that's it for our week. This week, what we've been up to and what we're doing. I'm just going to mention where we're going to be at next week. I'm going to be at Pereguini MLS on Monday, talking about new Mazak machines that they've installed and OpenMind's Hypermill software, which has changed their business. We'll, of course, be live at Subcon on Tuesday. You must tune into that. Wednesday, we're at Prototype Productions and in High Wycombe at A&R, and also at Oxford Engineering. Gio, what are you doing at Oxford Engineering next week? As a company that I know well.
So we're there next week with SMW, SMW Telbrook. So we're looking at some of their 0-point solutions. So looking forward to that one, Paul.
Good stuff. Good. And I'm also at FANUC next week in Coventry doing some pre-interviews for their event that's happening in November. I've got to say, events are starting to happen again. Engineering is doing good things at the moment. We're hearing a lot of good positive stories from the market. Talking to the sales guys, they're selling a lot of machines, and of course the the products that are associated with that. The CAD/CAM guys are doing really well. People are interested, aren't they, in learning about how they can change their business. Now we're coming out of this pandemic. I know we keep hearing talks about these next lockdowns and all the rest of it. Not having any of it here at MTD. We're really looking forward to going.
The industry's buoyant.
It's buoyant. Yeah. We're looking forward to going to EMO next month. We're looking forward to being at all the events that I've said. And of course, if you don't get a copy of our magazine, September's issue hits desks this week. Carl spoke about it in last week's podcast, but yeah, the September edition of our magazine does hit desks this week. So if you want to get a copy, register for that on the website if you don't get one already. And of course, the new MTDCNC website goes live this weekend. I didn't want to make too much of a big deal of that because it's such a big website. And I'm going to be honest, when you're developing a new website, sometimes things go a little bit wrong. So if you are on the website this weekend and there's problems, don't worry. We will get it sorted. But we've got a brand new MTDCNC website, which is going to encompass the whole of the globe's activity. Easy to navigate, loads of technology on there, and of course, the latest news. That's it from me now. I'm going to go and have a drink. And thank you very much for joining us, Gio. 33 minutes.
Thank you very much, Paul.
And see you again next week. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.